Good afternoon, it's Rebecca coming to you live here on a Thursday. Happy Thursday, everyone, almost Friday. So we have been on a 7-week series where I have been sharing some of the fundamentals of my own learnings and some tips around starting your own business. If you missed the first 4 weeks, we have done 4 weeks. They are all on the website at RebeccaContreras.com. You can subscribe and go to resources, and all the tools that I provide are 100% free, available to you for you to enjoy. And you can also listen and watch this particular series on my Facebook page by joining and following at Rebecca and Contreras. I'd love to have you join our page both on Facebook and Instagram. So we have been talking about the success in starting your business and dealing with the fundamentals of what I believe will set you up to be successful as you start and scale your own small business. Week 1, I shared about that reinvention process from employee to entrepreneur, what that journey was for me, and the important fundamentals you need to think about when you do that and reinvent. Week 2, we shared about what I call the fundamentals, the one-on-ones, the critical foundational things you need to know when you start your business. Week 3, we shared about branding and the importance of branding. We shared then the following week about partnership. My series last week was all about partnership and the critical success factors you need to know if you decide to partner up versus have a sole proprietor business. And so make sure you go back and enjoy those. And if you like them, share them out. I'd love for you to share the knowledge. So today I want to talk about week 5 is going to focus on what I call the fundamentals of creating your business plan. Why does a business plan matter? And this is very basic, but it's important information that I had to learn sort of through the School of Hard Knocks, which is starting from the beginning when I started my business 13 years ago, and I didn't know what I didn't know. I had to do my own research and then learn through the things that I did wrong and the things that I did right, and mostly through mistakes. But it's important to have a strong, solid business plan. There are several key elements of why it's important to have a business plan. The top ones for me, and there are about 10, but the top ones for me are what it's going to do is, number one, it's gonna offer very clear in a very clear written format the services and the products that you're going to offer, and you're going to be able to stay focused on those products and or services. If you have it in your business plan and you know what you're going to offer and what you're about, it minimizes the ability to lose focus and to sort of be what I call all things to all people. And especially if you're in a services-based environment where you're providing services to your customers, it really hones you in on the core services and that sort of niche that you're going to provide. For me at Avant-Garde, I started my business 13 years ago in 2011, and I knew that I wanted to build a consulting practice that focused on my core experience and capabilities and the expert things I had to bring to the industry. And so I was very disciplined about starting my business around core capabilities in the area of human capital, which is sort of the gamut of HR services, the area of IT, and the area of business operations. And over the course of the last, I would say the first 10 years, it was really easy to stay focused on being that core niche consulting firm because I had the business plan and I knew specifically what I was going to offer, and there was no temptation to veer away from that. So making sure, number one, that you have that written down in terms of your core services and capabilities. The other sort of element that a good business plan you'll benefit from is it forces you, when you do a business plan, to conduct research, to look at the market, to look at your competitors, to look at what you're offering and see if there's a need for it. and to do your homework behind it. There's not only the market need, but the market competitors, and then again, that sort of niche market that you're going to be targeting. And the research and the data is so important in your success starting out of the gate, and it forces you to do that. The third thing it helps you do is it helps you find your audience and your target customer base. It'll force you to think about who's my customer base, who's my audience. Without knowing who your customer base is clearly and having it in your business plan, it's difficult to grow the company. To my particular market and service industry in terms of my customer base, because I had a strong network in government and I had worked with the government my entire career at that point, I decided my services were going to be exclusively for government sector. And it doesn't mean I stayed in government only. As I branched out, we have had a handful of private sector clients, and we've been able to serve as a subcontractor to other private sector clients. But I knew that in the beginning, and certainly the first, sizable runway of the company, the first 10 years, we wanted to really focus on that market where I knew I had a strong knowledge of and a potential customer base. Number 4, it helps you define your team. A good business plan will help you define the kind of team you're going to have, whether it's employees, managers, or teaming partners, and it's going to help you leverage as you execute your business. Number 5, a business plan will help you set goals. Goals in a new business, just as goals in your personal life, are super important to the critical success factor so that you can actually be successful. Without goals and without a vision, nothing happens. And so I wanted to, my goals the first 3 years, I laid them out very clearly. And I had goals in the first, I would say, year, and then year 2 and year 3. My first year goals I wanted to share with you, particularly the first 6 months of the business. I put a goal and I put a stake in the ground that said, I'm going to secure at least one client in the first 3 to 6 months. I'm going to work really hard to make sure I have one client. And then I set the tactical plan in terms of the tasks and the actions that I had to carry out in order to meet that goal. We did achieve that goal in month 3 of starting the business. And so it was a successful goal that was met. The second goal I set is I know that if I'm going to be in the government sector, I need to be in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm already here in Texas. There's obviously city and state government here, but my focus was the federal government. And so I had moved to Texas when I left the Bush administration. After the first term, I served President Bush in the White House. And in his first term, I left DC. My husband and I both moved back to Austin. And I knew that in order for me to be successful in the federal government, I had to be in DC. So I set my goal to travel to DC, at least twice a month, and knock on doors and meet people in person. Made sure that within that target of my DC travel, I met at least 5 clients, potential clients per week. So I set a really aggressive schedule to at least have 5 client meetings where I could share my vision, I could share the goals around our company and what we were offering with at least 5. And then I identified, the third thing I did is I identified at least 15 to 20 people in my network that knew me, that supported me and knew I had started a business, were excited for me. And I said, hey, I want you to help connect me. I did the ask. One of the things that you have to be super comfortable with as a business owner is asking, right? And so I did the ask and I said, I'm going to be I am starting a business. I have started a business. Can you sort of share my capability statement? I had a 1-page, I call it the glossy, the branding material, which I talked about branding 2 sessions ago. So make sure you listen to that. But then I asked the people I knew in my network, 15 to 20 people, to say, hey, can you connect me? And then I knocked on more doors because they connected me. And I will tell you, my personal experience is for at least every 10th door you knock on, you might get 1 bite. So if you're looking to get at least 3 clients in your first 12 months, then that means you need to knock on between 30 and 40 doors. And not just knock on them, but get in the door and have a meeting and sit down and share what you're doing. And so super important to scale that and to make sure you're knocking on plenty of doors. The last thing I did is I set a financial goal for myself. And I said within the first year, I'm going to secure at least a $50,000 contract. Maybe not one contract, multiple contracts totaling $50,000. And that didn't mean that I was going to pay myself, that, but when you secure a new contract in business, remember you have to deliver, you have to deploy teams, you have to provide, the services around that. But I knew that in the first year, I wanted to get at least a $50,000 contract. We were able to secure that in month 3 of opening up the business. And so we were successful in that. So that is the 5th sort of thought around the business plan. The 6th one is funding overview. Why it's important to have a business plan. It forces you to sit down and put together a financial plan, especially if you need money, if you're looking to get money, to apply for a loan, or you're looking for investors. Those investors that you approach, and even the loan, whether you go to SBA or a traditional bank, they're going to want to see what your financial plan is, and it forces you to do a financial plan and to do your projections. And I talked a little bit about that a couple of sessions ago, so you'll want to watch that and how important it is to get your financial plan and your projections going. I think we covered it in week 2. So these are just 6 of the top 10 reasons why a business plan is important. I wanted to share these 6 with you in the interest of time, but these are, in my opinion, the top 6 that I would recommend. So you want to leverage your tools to build the business plan. Listen, when I started my business 13 years ago, there were some, templates and samples on Google that you can get. But today we have AI, we have ChatGPT, we have great tools available that all will help you provide the template and the structure. I talked about LegalZoom.com and how that's been an incredible resource for me. I think I covered that in week 2 and gave other examples. But leverage the tools that are out there. It's not difficult to put together a business plan because there's so many great samples out there. There's so many great tools. Start with the basic business plan and build the elements of the plan. Now, I do recommend if you use AI or you use a template that you not copy and paste. I was talking to a business owner the other day that I've been trying to kind of coach, and she said, I did my business plan and I pulled down a sample and I just kind of edited it. Well, don't just edit it. You want to get the sample to get the template, but you want to author the sections of your business plan through various, obviously, tools that you're using, but you want it to be unique to your business. And I am all about leveraging content that exists, but make sure you take really well thought out time. A good business plan is going to take you anywhere from 45 to 60 days to pull together with your research and with expert opinions that you're getting. And so you want to make that. Now, what are the sections of what I call the fundamental business plan sections? And there are plenty of templates out there you want to leverage and use. I have several sections that are what I call essential to a business plan. You want to have an executive summary. You want to have a company capability and or description. What are your products? What are your services? You want to do your market research in terms of what kind of business you're going to start and why. You want to have a simple management structure in there of how the organization is going to operate. You want to have a financial plan. I talked about the importance of a financial plan, and not only the existing plan of what you're looking right now to get, but what your projections over the 3, 6, 12 month, and even into 18-month process. We call that the startup phase in the first 6 to 12 months, and then obviously beyond the startup phase in year 2. Those projections are going to be super important to your financial success. You want to have a marketing plan. How are you going to achieve success when you market your business? Who is your core market? All those things are what I call the fundamental essentials of a business plan. I have found in my own experience, people that you're sharing your business plan with, whether it's an investor, a bank, or someone else that you're looking to get expertise from, don't come up with a 100-page document. Nobody's going to read that. But make sure it's what I call strategic and essential in terms of the content and the stuff that's in there so that you can leverage that. So I want to talk a little bit about the consequences to not having a business plan. I can't tell you how many business owners I meet that have started their businesses that are even mature, in your 3, 4, 5, and sometimes longer of their business. And as I sort of do, sidebars or coaching conversations with them, I ask them, how's your business plan? What condition is it in? And they look at me like, I don't have a business plan. Well, and a lot of people, obviously are short on time. I know I certainly don't have a lot of time in my day. And when I started the business early on, it was very difficult to have that desk time to sit and focus and doing it. But I would encourage you, make sure that even if you're mature in your business and you're what I call, beyond the infancy stage, you're in year 3, 4, 5. Get a business plan together. You can still do a business plan in those mature years so that you're looking at the discipline around those things. So I want to give you just a few examples of the consequences in your business to not having a good business plan. In my opinion, there are 5 clear, concise consequences and what I call negative impact out of the gate if you don't have the extra time to put together a business plan. Again, whether you're beginning your business or you're mature in your business. Number 1, you drift. You delay growth because you have no focus in the business. And there's more temptation when you don't have a business plan to get pulled in. I was actually talking to another entrepreneur just yesterday about her business, and we were comparing notes about how easy it is when you start scaling and growing and you're out there in the public domain and you're talking to customers or people, how easy it is to get sucked into the distraction because everything seems like a great idea and you want to please everybody and you want to accomplish everything and you don't want to say no. And when you have a business plan, it minimizes the focus that you will need to have. So it will, if you don't have a business plan of consequences, you will drift. Number 2, you'll lack definition in that niche, in that core market that I said you have to have. Nobody's going to recognize what you do. And having that niche and going back to that business plan when there's temptation to start, throwing things to the wall that you hope stick. If you have that business plan and you've already said, we're going to be this kind of business, we're offering these services, we're staying super loyal to and focused around what expertise I bring to the table, it's less temptation for you to, again, not have that clear definition. And the third thing, and probably the most important one, is a waste of time, resources, and energy. That you won't be able to make up later. Once you have that time gone, it's gone. It's poof, it's gone. You've wasted it. And so the frustration as an entrepreneur of, gosh, I wasted, those first 2 years. I should have, shoulda, coulda, would have. And so if you have that discipline, there won't be so much of a waste. And not to say that if there is money that's lost, there won't be a lesson around that, because you're going to lose money in business. One of my, I met, when I was in the White House working for Bush, I met one of the top meat distributors for McDonald's, and he also owned a bunch of breweries across the U.S., Anheuser-Busch beer breweries, and he was like in his 70s and very successful Hispanic business entrepreneur, and had been on the cover of Forbes and other magazines. And when he started his business, he started door to door, and he had no money. He was dirt poor. Incredible American entrepreneur story, as so many are. But I remember one piece of advice that he said to me when we talked about business. And at the time I was a government employee, I was a government worker. I hadn't really thought about being an entrepreneur, but it really stuck to me. And I remember him today. His name was Joe, Mr. Reyes. I said, Mr. Reyes, so, what is your number one advice for, if, being in business and being an entrepreneur? And he said, Mija, in order to make money, you have to be willing to lose a lot of money. He said, if you don't like to lose money, then don't start a business. And of course, I'm the kind of person, and David will tell you, if I go to Vegas, which I don't like Vegas much, but I've been there once or twice, I don't even like losing, $10 in the slot machines. I do not like losing money. Nobody likes losing money, but there will be a loss of money. It should not be because you wasted time by not putting a good business plan in place and not operating to a financial plan. It can be because, you lost money because you lost a contract, or maybe you went in a direction that didn't work and you had to pivot. All that is part of business. So you will lose money. So be willing to lose money in order to want to make money, but you won't have that loss without the lack of a business plan. Number 4, it will be unclear to you the consequence. Again, we're talking 5 top reasons for the consequences of not having a good business plan. You'll be unclear in your structure and you'll make a ton of mistakes that you will have a hard time recovering from, and it will cost you time and money. And then the last reason and consequence to not having a plan is you will make poor decisions, resulting again in loss. Poor decisions I have found are made when there's no plan in place, and it's easier to sort of fly by the whim, or do what feels good type of thing, or again follow a great idea that somebody brings to you and says, oh, I've got the greatest new invention, the greatest new investment, the greatest new business plan idea, and if you don't have it in your business plan and you don't stay true to it, then you will make poor decisions, resulting in loss. So those are the reasons, 5 top reasons for the consequences of not having a good plan. I've given you the fundamentals of why you should have a good business plan and how to leverage that. But remember, you are not alone in this. As a business entrepreneur, there are so many tools and lessons and people along the way that are there to help you. The online tools, the podcasts that are out there on business entrepreneurship, the AI tools that are out there, the tools available through LegalZoom.com and other methods that are free available to you. So start building your business plan. Set a goal. If you're already again in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your business, it's not too late to start a business plan. But make a goal and say, okay, in the next 60 days, I'm going to have a business plan, and at least I'll have a roadmap. Think about it this way. If you were building a house, would you think about building a house without an architect plan? No. Because unless you're really brilliant at that and you don't need any plans, but I haven't met anybody yet that's built a house that doesn't need an architect plan to operate by, and where the wiring's going to go, where the plans are going to go, which bedrooms are going to be there. So a business plan is the same thing as an architect plan for a house. So make sure you start building your business plan. And as that business plan evolves, give yourself flexibility for it to change and evolve over time. You might want to dust it off and revise it every 3 years. If what you're doing in the first year is not working, I would revise it before the 3-year period. But you always want to have that good discipline around revision to your business plan, dusting it off, reading it, making sure you're staying true to it. Hopefully this has been helpful to you, and the series has been helpful to you. We've covered a lot of ground in just 5 weeks. This is week 5 of a 7-week series. If it has been helpful to you, then shoot me a note. Make sure you go to RebeccaContreras.com and subscribe to my website. You can email me directly from that website. It comes directly to me. Let me know it's been helpful and how it's been helpful to you. Or send me a message on Instagram and or Facebook at Rebecca and Contreras on this page, and I'll make sure and respond. I love the feedback I'm getting already, so I keep it coming. And make sure you check out the weeks 1 through 5 if you missed those. We are going to be skipping next week. I will be in the DC area, tending to my clients and my team next Thursday. I'll be there all week. But I will be back in the saddle here, same time, same place, for week 6 of this series. We're going to be talking week 6. Week 6 is going to take place May 30th on Thursday at 12:30 Central, right here on Facebook Live. And I'm going to talk about one of my all-time favorite subjects, which is the right people and the right talent to absolutely propel you forward in your business. So join me for week 6, and thank you so much for enjoying, and make sure you share this out. Have a great week.